Oops. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 25th, 2025 regular meeting of the Montclair Township Council. This regular meeting of the council is being broadcast live on Channel 34. It's streaming live on Montclair TV 34 YouTube channel, and it's available on demand and can and will be rebroadcast. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. The meeting was included in the revised annual notice of the meeting schedule as set forth in Resolution R 25-038, adopted by the Township Council at its regular meeting of February 25, 2025, advertised to the official newspaper on March 6, 2025, posted on the bulletin boards outside of the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted. In addition, a copy of the revised annual notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of our township clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Madam Clerk, for joining us this evening. Please, will you do the roll call?
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Here.
Councilor Birmingham, absent. Councilor D'Amato.
Present.
Councilor Harrison.
Here.
Councilor Toller.
Good evening, President.
Good evening. Councilor Williams, absent. Mayor Baskerville.
Present. Thank you. At this point in time, we're going to, the council will move into the executive session. The purpose of the executive session is to discuss redevelopment, and also we will have discussions about township attorney and possibly contract negotiations. So we're going to ask anyone that's a member of the public or not the immediately involved with this to remove yourself from the chambers, and we look forward to joining you at 7 p.m. Thank you so much. Motion to adjourn into the executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion, please, that we adjourn from the executive session and resume the regularly scheduled Township Council meeting of 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Good evening, everyone. As you come in, please, if you'd like to speak, if you would sign now, because we are going to go directly into the public comments whenever you're ready. So person number 1 can come down. Lord, give me patience, give me joy. Good evening, everyone. Can the person that has the number 1 ticket please come? We're ready for you, and thank you all for joining us. The rest of you can sign in, please, and then take your seat as you're ready. We're going to move forward with the meeting. Person number 1, our guest. No, thank you so much. Welcome.
Put the ticket right there. Anybody who has a ticket, please put it in front of
Good evening. I'm
Good evening.
Suzanne Atman. I'm speaking exclusively as a Montclair resident, a Humane Society policy leader, and a master gardener. I'm going to talk fast. I'm again raising concerns about the proposed deer count grant on the agenda. I was hoping and expecting we would have some meetings to discuss, bring in other perspectives, including the Humane Society, who have offered their expertise working with communities in this area. Why haven't we met? I had a great talk with a Bunzel leader yesterday, and they learned things they hadn't understood about the complexity of this issue, and they agreed that discussions around it are important. Emails don't suffice. I want to protect our environment and people's yards just as much as anyone. I've dedicated years just to this cause, but I want us to approach this issue correctly in a scientifically valid, objective way. We are not clear why we need a one-time drone count and what purpose it will serve and what decisions it will inform exactly. That needs to be clear. Is the goal to understand population abundance? A one-time drone survey cannot reliably establish population abundance. Scientific standards require multi-season, adequately replicated sampling to estimate density. Single night counts are often misinterpreted and historically have been used to justify actions communities did not intend. Is it to understand abundance of deer in our parks? Again, deer are not static like trees. They move through time and space and require more rigorous studies than this current grant application supports. What will a one-time snapshot provide that we cannot already address now with proven non-lethal impact-based strategies that address complaints and concerns about deer? They are numerous and proven. Many are free to implement. Second, accepting of fish and wildlife funding raises a conflict of interest. The agency's mission emphasizes game management and herd reduction. It has a documented preference for lethal methods, and much of its funding is from hunting permits and related. If Fish and Wildlife funds the count and influences interpretation, residents cannot assume neutrality. While drone count contractors can be purely data collectors, and that is what we want, many operate within fish and wildlife networks, another reason to slow down and ensure independence before proceeding. Third, the Fish and Wildlife Grant application itself shows bias. Its questions are framed toward lethal deer management, and it includes items like free deer culling warning signs and a checkbox asking whether the municipality plans future deer management. Montclair checked yes. That and other areas are troubling. Just because we're offered a small grant doesn't mean we have to use it. So I urge us again to pause, get answers to these questions, have a few meetings where discussion can happen with key parties, make a plan that benefits all sides, including our gardens, including our trees, parks, wildlife, and deer. Take a moment before proceeding. We can decide that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please. Guest number 2, please. Good evening.
See everybody. My name's Annette Batson. I'm a Montclair.
Is it green?
Yes, great. Okay. I'm a Montclair resident. Okay, great. Hi, good evening. My name's Annette Batson. I'm a Montclair resident, Humane Society policy leader, and founder of Humane Montclair. Some of you have seen me before up here. Our mission is to advocate for animal welfare and connect the dots to our values of compassion, social justice, public health, and environmental conservation. Humane Montclair has worked closely in the past with council to pass meaningful welfare, animal welfare policies such as prohibiting the sale of puppy mill dogs, strengthening standards for backyard chickens, and opposing the cruel trophy hunting contests. These efforts have demonstrated Montclair's leadership locally and statewide, helping Montclair earn a Better City for Pets designation and a $20,000 grant. Many of us have recently learned that the council is considering a $6,000 grant from the New Jersey Fish and Wildlife Department to conduct a drone-based deer count. While this is a small grant, the potential consequences are not. As Suzanne and others have explained, simple wildlife counting has historically been used to justify lethal control programs, not to address real or perceived deer-related concerns. The Humane Society of the U.S. sent you a letter stating that a single survey provides only a moment-in-time snapshot and can't possibly capture distinct seasonal movements or land use for deer. Relying on one snapshot as justification for lethal deer removal is incomplete and may be misleading to the community. They go on to say, without a guiding principle of reducing conflicts in an ethical, human way, many communities fall into a cycle of killing deer year after year without reducing conflicts, without teaching residents how to coexist with wildlife. And in fact, with 40 years of research behind them, the Humane Society has said that deer culling has not proven to be the answer. But the answer is conflict resolution so that there is a peaceful coexistence with wildlife and humans. Tonight, I urge you to commit to clearly sustainable, non-lethal approaches to any concerns surrounding deer. Organized killing with guns or bows and arrows should never happen for any reason within our township. We need an explicit safeguard which prevents Montclair from sliding into lethal management. The only way to do that is with an ordinance. For that reason, I'm sharing for your consideration a draft ordinance that would prohibit use of lethal wildlife management methods in Montclair, with narrow exceptions for true public health emergencies. This aligns with our values, reflects best practices, and positions Montclair once again as a leader in humane policy. I hope you will consider passing such an ordinance by the end of 2025. Humane Montclair is a key stakeholder with expertise. I respectfully ask you to pause on this resolution. Thank you for your time tonight, and a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you as well. Next guest, please.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. My name's Jen Sypek. I'm a proud Montclair resident, a gardener,
I'm
and
sorry, please, what is your last name?
Sypek.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, I'm a proud Montclair resident, a gardener, a volunteer with Humane Montclair, and Friends of Montclair Animal Shelter. Coexisting means allowing animals to live safely while addressing conflicts with humane, innovative, and non-lethal approaches, straight from our town's website. Many of us, including myself, moved here for a nature-based urban environment, which means really coexisting. I had to learn that myself. I inherited a beautiful English garden that now is like this lovely native English garden, so that we all can live peacefully together. Again, it's not avoiding interactions or defaulting to lethal responses. And luckily, there's numerous ways that we can combat this. But we really haven't taken that basic, proven non-lethal steps that responsible communities do before considering things like drone counts. We can install dynamic deer collision warning signs during peak seasons in peak areas. There's studies in Virginia that have proven a reduction in collisions by 50%, and that's just on the major roads. On like local roads, it could even be more. So I feel like that's a really great option. Secondarily, there's the Re-engaging with Wild Neighbors initiative, which we already belong in. It's really about educating residents on coexistence, the strategies for their yards and public spaces. Third is protecting our young trees with deer wraps and tree trunk guards. It's really an inexpensive standard practice that we haven't implemented for park or street trees. And really then the deers are really blamed for preventative damage. We also can address the pressures of Bonsall Preserve, our only true forested park. Deer browse is definitely one of the factors, but so is invasive plants, soil issues, and climate impacts. Only an ecological assessment would really determine what can really assess what those drivers are, not a deer kill or a count. Princeton Hydro has been an organization that has provided solutions for that. I think that's a great option. If we take these steps, we will reduce complaints significantly. Rushing into a drone count funded by an agency with a vested interest in organized killing risks locking Montclair into decisions that do not reflect our values. They don't reflect my values. And finally, it's been explained to me that the Humane Society of the United States has offered to partner with Montclair and offer their expertise, grants, and assistance in developing a more humane and effective long-term solution to address the community's conflicts with deer. Really a resource I really hope we embrace going forward. I really appreciate your time tonight, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You two next guests, please. Guest number 4.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey, Noah.
I know, trust me. We all need a holiday weekend, so it's a good thing Thanksgiving's coming up. Happy Thanksgiving to the Town Council and Mayor Dr. Renee E. Baskerville. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Happy
I know it has
Thanksgiving to you.
been, I know we're all grateful for you and everyone in this town. I know it has been a tough year between the schools, the deficit, and everything else that's been going on in our world. These are frightening times we have been living in. So I just wanted to appreciate all you do. It's very hard work, and I love everything you do. Thank you. Anyway, I'm here to speak about, normally I would be speaking about the lowering taxes issue, about the taxes of houses in Montclair being too high. However, I'm here to speak tonight. I know it's not a Board of Education meeting. I know it's a town meeting, but I'm going to speak about education anyway. So, as you know, the big picture is you graduate from high school at the end of 12th grade, but really I feel there might as well be a ceremony in every grade because, for example, you graduate first grade, you move up to second grade, and you don't have the same teacher in second grade as you do in first grade. So I was thinking the diploma should be annually, not just in high school, because if you don't have the same teacher in second grade as you do in first grade, you might as well get a diploma then. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Next guest, please.
Start that clock yet? My name's Jay Turner. I'm a longtime Montclair resident, and I'm here tonight to present a petition to downzone 260 Park Street back from neighborhood commercial back to R2 residential like the rest of the street. There's a current proposal in with the planning board to tear down the 112-year-old historical house that's currently there and to build a massive modern apartment building with a pizzeria on the ground floor. We've been down this road before. 5 years ago, the Westerly came in within the historic district and built their apartment with the Milburn Deli on the ground floor. Our worst fears have been confirmed. The traffic increase from that has been absolutely devastating. In addition, the whole world of restaurants has changed with the advent of the smartphone. Now all these restaurants have people coming all day long, Grubhub, Uber Eats, to pick up orders and leave. Their whole model is based off getting in and out quickly. So, for example, I went to Milburn Deli. They told me they have 400 to-go orders every day. 160 at least are from these services. I went next door to Bonjour Montclair. They told me they have over 100. So what does that mean? It means that half the time when I come home, I can't enter my driveway because somebody's parked there to go pick up a sandwich. If I want to exit my driveway, some of the time I can't get out. It seems like just a basic fundamental right to be able to enter and exit your property. In addition, these people are extremely aggressive because their whole model is based off getting in and out. So, my neighbor and friend Jerry was hit. His neighbor Donna's housekeeper was hit by a car. When we were here for the planning board meeting last time about 260 Park Street, the next day a little girl was hit crossing the street. So this is a major issue. I mean, Watchung Plaza has been there for 150 years. They put a traffic light in 3 months ago. I mean, that's the canary in the coal mine. Obviously, there's a problem. There's too much traffic there now. We don't need to throw gasoline on a fire and make it 100 times worse. So I'd really appreciate, there's a planning meeting on Monday. If you guys would take a hard look at this, if it can't be zoned back, there's got to be some kind of solution so that our quality of life and our safety isn't compromised from what it is now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. Next guest, please. Oops, you okay?
Claire Ciliata, 279 Park Street. I just want to follow up on that the traffic is non-stop. I've lived on Park Street for 38 years. The average speed going down Park Street now, if there's not a traffic jam, which there is often, I've seen guys drive 50 miles an hour, and there's nothing to stop them until they get to Bellevue. So to introduce another 400 cars with a pizza place or what's the other one, bagel, I don't understand it. I don't understand what this town feels about our neighborhood. I mean, Montclair is made up of wonderful, wonderful neighborhoods, and I love, my neighborhood is womb to tomb. My doctor's there, everybody's there. But now, walking is impossible. This morning I called because the lights aren't working right. When the light says I can walk, the little walk guy doesn't come on. It stays red. And the fact that people can come out of, where all the little stores are on Watchung, when they come out of that one-way street to make a left, it's a nightmare because that same light is allowing everybody else to go. And there's been near accidents. Please talk to the crossing guard. He can tell you how bad it is. But I'm at that coffee shop every morning at 7 a.m. and we sit outside and watch a nightmare. So I would ask you, please, to think about the children that are there, the women with the baby carriages, and then you're going to introduce this, and I hear that the gas station wants to put in some kind of 7-Eleven. I don't care what they want. I want you to represent us and what we want. We live there. The other night I was out on the street, and again, at night, they drive so fast you wouldn't believe it. It's dangerous for those of us who live there and want to use the plaza. And yes, times have changed. You have Grubhub, Uber, DoorDash. So somehow we have to take that into account when we say yes to these things. You're not saying yes to a little restaurant where people, park their car in back of Watchung Plaza and walk and have dinner from 7 to 9. You're talking about literally a stream of traffic that does not stop. So please, I beg you to speak to all the planning board, whoever else is there, and ask them to represent us, the people who pay the taxes and live there. And God help you if you give that building a tax abatement, because that's not okay either. So please, please, take care of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please. Guest number 7.
Good evening. My name is Anson Pope. I'm just here tonight to express, and I thought there was going to be a resolution in there for tonight's meeting, to recognize Councillor Toller in a position of Deputy Mayor. I've come to support that, having worked with Councillor Toller on numerous Fourth Ward initiatives and having campaigned for her previously. I've seen her dedication firsthand. She truly epitomizes Montclair's values, and as a dedicated Mountie and lifelong resident, her service extends beyond the council, evident in her work with the Montclair Mutual Aid and the Howe House. She serves all residents with integrity, and that's something that I definitely appreciate for my ward. So I just wanted to come and say that. I'm wondering what had happened, if that was still a plan. I know you had said you wanted to rotate that position, Mayor.
I didn't make a decision about that.
Okay.
It is on the agenda for discussion
Okay.
this evening. We haven't gotten there yet, so we do public comment, and then we go into the agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Well, I do support for Councillor Toller to be Deputy Mayor, very much.
Thank you for coming. Next guest, please.
Hi, my name is Kalen Kinsella. I'm from the 4th Ward, 25 Madison Avenue. On the theme of Thanksgiving being so close, I beg you to please give me some grace here for my bullet points. So, I don't know if you've ever been to Red Eye Cafe, but you go there, you get your coffee, you get a croissant, you do whatever you want to do, and you go back to your car, and you exit the parking lot that's right next to it, and you can't see a single thing when you're trying to exit and go through that stop sign, right? The signs that allow you to park somewhere for 2 hours, 4 hours, those signs, they're too close. you can't see what's on either side. I've almost crashed multiple times because I have to basically be halfway out in the street to be able to see anything. And also, even when they are put in place, the signs, it doesn't work because they're not enforced. Very rarely have I seen people ticketed for staying more than 4 hours or going past the signs. I've also seen on, the intersection on Llewellyn and Orange Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on an event night for MKA Elementary School, both sides of the road, because it's a one-way with 2 lanes, both sides of the road are filled with cars. You can't really get through, and you can't fit 2 cars on both sides when there's cars on both sides of the street already, so you can barely make a turn. And if you want to make a left and someone else wants to make a right, you can't do that because there's not enough space. So it just creates a huge traffic jam, and you're not supposed to do that. There's no legal allowing of that. There should be more enforcement, but there just isn't any enforcement because people just keep doing it. So I'd appreciate if you would do something about it, so I would not crash my car. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please.
Hi, name is Levi Siegel. I'm a resident of the 2nd Ward and a student at Montclair High School, and I was previously a member of the Vision Zero Task Force. I really appreciate the amount of safety improvement projects that the town has done. I've seen new stop signs, new traffic lights at Watchung Plaza, and a lot of new delineators around. To add on to those safety improvements, I would highly support building more protective bike lanes and adding that to the safe streets agenda that we have, the complete and green streets policy that was passed. Montclair is already a pretty bikeable town, just distance-wise. You could bike across town within 20 minutes. And most streets are already relatively bikeable. But there isn't enough dedicated infrastructure. We need more protected bike lanes. Right now, we don't really have any protected bike lanes, nor I'm not really aware of if there's any plan to build any protected bike lanes along with, as a part of street upgrades. There's the streets here in Montclair, many of them are on the wider side, and that does promote speeding, and that's what creates the danger when you're biking. And there are a lot of benefits to building protected bike lanes would increase the amount of people cycling, which would reduce the financial burden of car ownership and reduce CO2 emissions. And while adding protected bike lanes may require the elimination of parking spaces, this is not really, safety is a lot more important than the convenience of being able to park a car. To address some previous speakers' points that there's too many businesses in Montclair, and that's what's creating traffic. It's not really that the businesses are the problem. We want more businesses. We want to make Montclair be a better place to live with having more economic activity. The problem is that these new businesses, it supports car infrastructure, and it supports having to drive to these businesses because we don't have adequate alternative forms of transportation like cycling paths or better transit infrastructure. That would really reduce car ownership and make the traffic and safety problems at these intersections and where these businesses are significantly less of an issue than it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please. Guest number 10. Hey.
Hi, good evening. Diane Anglin. My ears are still popped. I just got off a plane. Diane Anglin, 158 Orange Road, Montclair resident. Happy holidays to everyone. While on vacation, I was getting several text messages about the resolution to change the deputy mayor. While I am in favor of all of council people having a rotation, we're concerned about the process and making sure that, I want to give a shout out to our young people who are here because it's so wonderful to see how civically engaged you are. But with our young people watching, we have to make sure that we follow process. So if we are going to do a rotation, because I remember back in the day, we used to be pissed off when Dr. Baskerville wasn't named the deputy mayor, but we have to follow process. So if we're going to do a rotation, let's put that in place and figure out what the timing is. The way it was presented, it looks kind of funky. It looks bad when people say I wasn't aware or this isn't happening, and it looks like we don't know how to play well on the playground, and we want to make sure that we monitor that. Susan, thank you for coming up here because I wasn't aware of our issues with coexisting. Even on vacation, I was getting things on our neighborhood WhatsApp. Rahum gets it too, of all the Fox that are in our neighborhood too. So we're learning how to coexist with everyone else. Before I go, I do want to say that the NAACP has been in partnership with MFEE, CPAC, and the PTA Council, working with our school district to get information out because we want to be truth tellers and fact finders. So on December 2nd, we will have a forum that will be on Zoom, and please look for that information. December 4th, the NAACP will be partnering with St. Paul Baptist Church, and I'll be quite frank, it is going to be on the effect of everything on our black children. What's going on financially, but talking to a lot of parents in town about just their experience that they have within the school. So we're going to elevate this because quite frankly, if you look at the flyer, the house is on fire for us. So we have to be intentional about how Montclair Public Schools is working with our black children. We met a lot of families in town who, if they can, they take their kids out. So when we talk about an achievement gap, of course, the achievement gap is going to be greater if our high-performing students go to private schools. So please come out and talk about this if you care. Thanks a lot, and have a great holiday.
Thank you so much. Next guest, please. Guest number 11.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Lauren Denor, and I live in the First Ward. As a concerned parent and taxpayer, last week my husband and I volunteered to send handwritten postcards to registered voters who signed up for mail-in ballots in the hopes of encouraging them to vote yes, yes. One of these postcards arrived at the home of a member of one of the town council members, addressed to one of their family members. The postcard said, "Dear blank, I'm angry and disappointed, and I'm still voting yes, yes, because new school leadership is finally making hard decisions to bring long-term stability to our schools. I hope you will join me, your neighbor, Lauren, mom of 3. That's me." The council member proceeded to post my postcard to their 2,000 plus followers on Facebook, along with some commentary. Why am I sharing the story? Because we are living in highly polarized times where issues like this can further exacerbate divisions, especially when our elected officials use their platforms and influence to spread misinformation or seed mistrust in our public institutions. Let me give you 2 examples from the council members' Facebook posts. The first, that postcards were some nefarious project of our school board members who illegally shared private information, when in reality, the data set was legally obtained and the postcards were clearly labeled with a paid-by description. This false comment from a public official has the effect of further eroding trust from our elected school board members, who, as a reminder, are volunteers working on behalf of our children. The second, that people behind the postcards are wealthy individuals who could, quote, pool their resources to bail the district out rather than punish everyone in town. For the record, I am a professor at a public university, and I live in a home that is assessed at slightly below the average. This inaccurate comment only serves to further divide this town based on perceived but false economic lines. I'm not naming the council member, as my goal here is not to shame anyone. Rather, I'm here to ask the entire council for 2 things. Number 1, please be mindful of your words and your actions. We may disagree on the December 9th school referendum, but you have a responsibility to role model a different kind of politics that celebrates civic participation, not attacks it with misinformation. Number 2, please do your part. What's your solution to the instability of one of our most important town assets? Why not reallocate pilot funding to schools and find comparable cuts to town expenses, which would have the impact of reducing the additional school tax burden on your constituents? Despite the way that I've been treated, my neighbors and I stand ready to work with you. I wish you all a peaceful and reflective holiday.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 12. Thank you. Guest number 12. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Corfidge. I live at 58 Tuxedo Road in Montclair. Thank you for giving up yet another Tuesday evening. I appreciate your efforts on behalf of the town. I'm actually here. I'm here to speak about the Complete Streets Director position. My main request is that, and I believe that Mr. Marks has already spoken, this is a priority position, but I really encourage you all to make sure that this position gets filled as rapidly as possible. I've spoken to you about biking infrastructure myself. You know all about the proposal for the bike lane on Grove Street. We've heard tonight about traffic on Park Street, which could be addressed with traffic calming measures. We've heard about other calls for bike lanes. I've spoken with Councilor Toller about Vision Zero or traffic calming measures in the 4th Ward. So there's a lot of stuff on the plate of this committee, the Complete Streets Task Force. My impression, what I've been told, is that they've already missed one meeting and are on track to miss another meeting because we're waiting for that director to be hired. And I recognize it was only a couple months ago it was hired. I know it takes a certain amount of time to hire people, but it's worth noting, according to the Montclair Crashes website, there have been 8 crashes at least since that position was posted. So again, there's a lot of stuff that can be done to make Montclair safer, to make it more walkable and bikeable, to promote active transportation and all the benefits that can bring. I don't get the impression any of that can happen until that position is filled. So I really hope you all, members of the council and also the manager, will make a real effort to get that position filled as rapidly as possible, so as a town we can move on and do the things we need to do to make our town safer and better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please.
Good evening, Mayor Baskerville.
Good evening.
And council members. I'm Jeffrey Robert Grayson. During the November 12th council meeting, a resident from the 1st Ward came forward to express his displeasure excuse me, over a change in the sidewalk standard. This change took place after he and his neighbors had spent thousands of dollars to comply with the old standard. The new standard meant that the repairs were unnecessary. If residents of the 1st Ward are subjected to this degree of municipal flip-flopping, what hope do residents of the 4th Ward have in receiving equitable and unbiased treatment? Montclair is in desperate need of effective management and transformational leadership. All of the social media posts of ribbon cuttings and photographs at new buildings, traffic lights, flea markets, movie theaters, and restaurants are nothing more than smokescreens designed to obscure the fact that Montclair's town planner has us on an express train to gentrification, urban renewal, and cultural displacement. It has become clear that it's hard to find effective, ethical, resilient, and resolute leadership in Montclair. Why did a councilor resign after 1 year and potentially create gridlock in the council's ability to conduct business? Why did the Complete Streets Director resign after 4 months, leaving the 4th Ward without street safety improvements so desperately needed? Why is the Board of Education at the center of a scandal that has polarized the town and placed us at a crossroads? On one side, you have the fear that repercussions from this issue will cause Montclair's real estate market to bottom out and property values of homes that people paid too much for will decline. On the other side, you have the people that are the heart and soul of Montclair's reputation for diversity, fearing that they will no longer be able to afford to live here. Poor leadership and duplicitous behavior within the Board of Education has brought us here. The elected Board of Education has been a colossal failure, and its leadership and proponents need to have their deeds exposed and be held accountable. In times of crisis, effective leaders step forward and manage the situation with transparency, stability, bold leadership, and vision. When you have residents that are paying for unnecessary sidewalk repairs, while others are afraid to cross the streets near their homes, when you have residents that are being hoodwinked and bamboozled by ambiguous and perplexing ballot questions, while others are struggling to feed their families and remain in their homes, despite what you'd like to have everyone believe, not everyone in town lives in $1 million house, and they want to know, what about us? These residents want to see leaders spend less time creating photo albums and more time creating solutions and strategies. Maybe then the hope that went into our votes will be rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next guest, please. Guest number 14, please.
Good evening, Council, Mayor.
Good evening.
I'm Lynn Stockhammer. I live on Forest Street. I wanted to thank the council for unanimously passing the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act. All residents need to urge New Jersey to get this to the governor's desk. And thank you, Councilor Anderson, for your robust words of support and coordination. This is only a first, but it's a very significant step in protecting the safety, economic security, and dignity of our immigrant families and community who must be kept intact, and ultimately all of us in our shared humanity. In terms of people talking about the traffic, many of us appreciate the traffic calming measures that are being actively put in place, and I echo the concerns of several tonight, as I know many do. But we need enforcement, but we do not need more development. More development means more of these cars, more pollution, more injuries, more deaths, and more displacement, especially in the historically African-American Fourth Ward. This Fourth Ward consists right now, all of these issues are intertwined, as we know, of the descendants of the enslaved bedrock African Americans who built this town, servicing the rich, and whose descendants now can no longer afford to live and work in their own generational communities. And speaking of the Fourth Ward, I'm here to speak in support of the resolution for Fourth Ward Councilor Amina Teller for Deputy Mayor. I really can't, I probably know Councilor Toller better than I know any of you in town, from the little that I do working in town, but she truly cares about every person in this community, and particularly advocates for her own ward where nobody else is doing that. Somebody just spoke about the Vision Zero person leaving, you know, with those needs unmet. That's always put last. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please.
Hi, I'm Sarah Avery. It was my understanding that deputy mayor role was established by this council with a one-year term, and frankly, I would prefer to have anyone in the deputy mayor position other than Councilor Anderson. Her propensity to virtue signal rather than do any actual work on behalf of the community was expected but remains a disappointment. She has never once advocated, excuse me, I'm talking.
Excuse me,
I'm talking.
Yeah, this is your time.
She has no right to interrupt me. Did I interrupt you? No. Well, then you have no
Miss
right
Avery,
to interrupt me.
thank
Please,
you. This
I
is
have
your
to-
time. This is your time, Miss Avery.
She never once advocated on behalf of community members living in the Fourth Ward and South End of Montclair, whose residency status is jeopardized by rampant predatory overdevelopment. Clearly, she cares about immigrants like herself, but callously ignores longtime residents who are being displaced. Virtue signaling is nothing more than a smokescreen to cover up the entitlement mentality of those who think Montclair is a haven for the wealthy, people who actually believe They have the authority to grant permission to those of a lower socioeconomic class the privilege of living here. I welcome Councilor Toller as Deputy Mayor of Montclair, as she has set an example of how to work on behalf of the entire community, not just the vocal, privileged few. My website, Montclair, Progressive or Corrupt, the myth, the legend, the lie, is live and features in-depth analysis of multiple subjects, including censorship, Montclair's legacy of slavery, redlining, the NJDEP fraud, the Rao case, the teachers' lawsuit, plus extensive coverage of Spiller corruption, including the Mills Social Services building transaction, which I recommend you all read. The information is now in the public domain, and anyone, anywhere can access it. Any actions taken by this council that ignore readily available evidence of fraud is a violation of local government ethics law, NJSA 40A 9-22. Quote, "The vitality and stability of representative democracy depend upon the public's confidence in the integrity of its elected and appointed representatives." And by the way, the tax assessor is committing fraud. Shame on you for approving the revaluation ordinance, and shame on you for approving the Hendricks resolution.
Next guest, please. Guest number 16.
How dare you? How dare you disrespect me? Who are you?
Guest number 16, please.
Who are you? You're nobody.
Stop attacking Diane England. She does so much for this community.
Oh, like I don't.
Excuse me, everyone. There's a guest that's waiting to be heard. Guest number 16.
Hi, I'm Jessica Stolzberg. I live in Montclair. Can you just stop the clock until we are where we need to be?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think we're ready.
Could someone reset that, please? Because I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I wanted to talk tonight about our continuous unsafe sidewalk situation, as well as the problem with our town trees, and a purchase that I hope that you will still reconsider it. We know, walking through town, that very often the most egregious sidewalk issues are caused by town trees. So those are town trees causing really unsafe, non-ADA compliant town sidewalks, yet property owners are responsible for those sidewalks. I'd like to suggest that the town begin to take responsibility when they can see that there's no question that a town tree is causing the sidewalk to be upended. That is not your fault. It preceded you. These trees were planted a long time ago. Perhaps they're on the wrong size, the wrong species, were planted poorly, but you are on the dais now, and we need your support to make those sidewalks safe. People are tripping, injured on a regular basis. So that also has to do with us planting more trees, the wonderful grant we have. I've heard, and I hope it's a rumor, that there's talk of attaching a waiver so that a property owner who brings in a grant-funded street tree, town tree, has to sign a waiver taking responsibility that if that tree upends their sidewalk, they'll cover it. So I hope that's a rumor, because that means that you're basically holding hostage the shade canopy through us having to repair a sidewalk that we didn't cause harm to. Regarding the log truck purchase, towards the end of the meeting, I listened to your discussion about it, and Councilor Harrison, you mentioned that we need a log truck, which I understand is a very long flatbed with big metal arms that holds long uncut logs. I've never seen uncut logs being removed from our town. Branches are often cut up with chainsaws. They go into dump trucks that we have, lots of vehicles. Private tree companies come in to do private property. PSE&G comes in to take care of trees that interrupt our wires. So you have to ask, what are the actual long pieces that need a log truck? And this leads to that. I don't know if you guys found out, why do we need one versus someone asked for one. I went ahead and I called a bunch of towns. Nobody has a log truck. not Nutley, not Clifton, not Bloomfield, not Verona, not Maplewood, not West Caldwell, not Madison. I can keep calling if that would be helpful to you. Please take the $290,000 and invest in our sidewalks. Do not buy us a log truck. We need safe sidewalks. Councilor Shenanderson, you mentioned that the truck with the new vehicle will minimize physical injury to the workers. I would like the $290,000 to please be spent to minimize physical injury to the people of Montclair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 17.
Hi, I'm Arielle Eckstedt, 316 Park Street. I read an article this morning in the Jersey Vindicator where the journalist documented how democracy is not just in decline nationally, but in our state. And in recent years, negative changes include silencing public participation, gutting oversight and watchdog agencies, and rolling back transparency laws. The reason that I come to these council meetings is that I hope that at least on the hyper-local level, I have some ability to help keep our fragile democracy healthy. For example, I believe the current ballot measure is undemocratic. It doesn't include an explanatory statement, so it is very difficult to understand what the ballot is asking. The second question log rolls two issues into one instead of breaking them into two separate questions. There are other problems as well, detailed in the two lawsuits that have been filed to prevent the election from moving forward. However, if the election is to move forward, I think it is important for the town to weigh in. Even though the election originated with the Board of Ed, it is now a tax issue which falls to the town. The town needs to inform residents through the website, emails, and public forums about what they are voting on and how their taxes will be impacted. So that's number one. Number two, I also think that executive session is used for issues that can and should be talked about openly and in public. Transparency builds trust, and I hope you will strive to keep these meetings as transparent as possible. My civic hero, Joan Pransky, talked about this often, and I hope that you will honor her memory by doing so. I also support the measure to rotate the deputy mayor between council members on a yearly basis, as it has been in the past. It's unclear from what the mayor said if you guys are doing that tonight or not, but I know that it's a role that doesn't actually hold power, but it symbolically shows that each ward is of equal importance and that power is not concentrated in particular individuals, but in all members of the council. I thank Councilor Shenanderson for stepping up at the beginning, and now I support Councilor Toller, whom to so many of us is the ultimate example of someone who truly represents her constituents. She never stops informing, giving, helping, and even baking for her residents. And speaking of transparency, it seems like the DEER grant has hidden consequences that we should learn more about before passing it. And you were asked for a meeting and it hasn't happened yet. Please learn more before voting. And let's also look to pass an ordinance to prevent the practice of culling and killing inside our township. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 18, is there another guest? If not, we're going to come out of the public comment. Number 18, oh, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Baskerville, Town Council members. My name is Linda Cow. I am here tonight as a representative of the Montclair PTA Council, for which I'm serving currently as the president. First, I wanted to kind of echo Diane Anglin's comments earlier about the forum that our collaborative of MFEE, NACP, PTAC, and CPAC are putting together. We're calling it our Building Better Governance Forum. So it's a community conversation on governance, fiscal oversight, and accountability with the Superintendent, Ruth Turner, and Board of Education President Monk Ing Yang. And we are hoping to address address these questions. What are the district's and Board of Education's responsibilities for fiscal oversight and accountability? What changes have already been made to address the current challenges? What are the district's and Board of Education's long-term plans and goals for fiscal stability and accountability? And what can the community expect going forward? I'm also here tonight to share some concerns and questions around the district budget referendum. Last week, I sat with a senior who had never had kids in our public schools and was leaning towards a no vote. While my organization, PTAC, has voted to advocate for yes vote, the purpose of our conversation was not necessarily to sway one another. We listened to each other for over an hour, expressed our frustrations, fears, and asked each other questions. What we agreed on was that this was not an us versus them, that kids should not be pitted against the needs of seniors, two of the most vulnerable segments of our community. That the vitality and strength of our town requires both. We need you to support both. So I'm here tonight to ask that what our elected officials are doing for our kids and our seniors. Why do we still not have a senior center? What are you doing to support our schools, especially in this time of crisis when we are approaching a financial cliff that could impact the education of a whole generation? If we get a no vote, starting with the 2026-2027 school year, our district could be looking at an operating budget of reduced by over $9 million. So you may have already heard that the superintendent has proposed some cuts, but they only total of about $5 million. And folks are already considering that devastating. The impact on our students could be devastating. So no matter the outcome of the referendum, we are neighbors and we share this community for better or worse. I hope that we all want what is best for our schools, students, and educators, but also for our seniors, empty nesters, single parents, every sector of our community. So I ask, when will our public schools get their fair share of pilot funds? When will the township show that they understand, as Superintendent Turner has said, we are married, the town and the district. We need to raise this town together. Join me in taking this conversation to the governor-elect and other state officials. We must ensure that everyone understands the real barriers and challenges our district faces.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cow. I appreciate it.
And so finally,
Thank you
I
for your
want to acknowledge
service.
the students who are here, the young people who are here. They're watching, right? So they're watching how we navigate this process, how we treat each other, and how much we're willing to invest in them, our future leaders. So on December 9th, please vote yes for
And
them.
we follow the rules. Thank you so very much. Next guest, please. Number 19, guest number 19. Guest number 20, please.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor and Council. My name is Sharon Smith. I was born, raised, and still proudly reside here in Montclair. I am here tonight to express my support for the resolution to appoint Councilor Amina Toller as Deputy Mayor of the Township of Montclair. It has been our township practice to rotate this position so that leadership is shared and every part of our community is represented. Councilor Toller's passion and deepest commitment may be rooted in the Fourth Ward. However, she loves and works tirelessly for the entire township. Prayerfully, nothing happens to Mayor Baskerville, and we hope this position never needs to be utilized in that way. But having a deputy mayor who is community-focused is essential, and Councilor Toller is more than ready to fulfill that responsibility if needed. She shows up where she is needed, she listens, she advocates, and she dedicates her time and energy to ensure that residents across every ward feel seen, heard, and supported. Her leadership is grounded in a genuine love for Montclair. For that reason, I support and urge others to support the resolution appointing Councilor Amina Toller as our next deputy mayor. Thank you, and have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 21. Is there 21? Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Baskerville, Ms. Anderson, Mr. Marks, and members of the council. Hi, my name is Wyatt Foster. I'm a senior at Montclair High School. I'm also currently from the 2nd Ward, and I'm currently serving as the student representative to the Montclair Board of Education. I'm here in tandem with some members from Save Montclair Schools to push the town council to direct a proportion of the pilot funds that they receive each year towards the school district. And I'd also like to start by thanking you all for your dedication, leadership, and service to our local community. Superintendent Turner has mentioned before that our schools and the township are very much married. Many families move to Montclair because of the strength of the school system. And if the instructional cuts that we're facing right now take place and class sizes increase, test scores will inevitably decline. If the magnet system is dissolved, homes in Montclair may become less valuable. And our reputation and success as a township depends on our reputation and success of our district. Regardless of how the December 9th vote goes, Montclair is fighting an uphill battle alongside the rest of the districts in New Jersey. Utilities, healthcare, and contracted salaries are increasing faster than the 2% cap can cover. Lasting change is needed in how funds are allocated to permanently keep our district financially healthy. At a recent Board of Education meeting, and also tonight, Ms. Cow pointed out that it's a shame we're in a situation where we're forced to weigh the needs of Montclair's senior citizens against the needs of our students. We shouldn't be in that position, so we need to adjust our process accordingly. At the district level, I'm confident in Superintendent Turner's leadership and the new measures that she's implemented during her time in office. In the years that come, new long-term plans and hopefully additional revenue streams will better prepare us to swallow the rising costs. Things will also need to look different at the state level, but the change that we need starts here with the township and the allocation of pilot funds. 57% of that money, $1.9 million, would have tangible impacts. It could fund a forensic audit, new accounting software, and several critical positions. Cedar Grove sends $1.2 million in pilot funds to the school district each year. Upon adopting this plan 3 years ago, members of the local government there argued that the benefits of this decision overwhelmingly outweigh the cost because the township is desirous of supporting and promoting the education and civic development of its young residents. My hope is that you would all agree. The sacrifices that are being discussed for economic reasons, classroom teachers, school nurses, security guards, and counseling staff, along many others, are critical to the success and safety of our children. Montclair Public Schools is carrying the burden. Students, teachers, and families are bearing the cost. I'm asking that the township shoulder that load alongside us and make some hard decisions. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Next guest, please. Guest number 22. Is there a guest number 22? Tony?
Hi,
22.
Tony Martin, 41 North Fullerton Avenue. I came to speak about something that is not so freighted as the issues that are tearing our town apart. But let me just say for a minute, it grieves me greatly the way the school taxation issue is tearing our town apart. Tonight, I had the old, how am I going to stay in my seat without having a heart attack feeling that I used to have during the previous administration. Could everybody just take a breath on both sides, and could we avoid the personal venality, catcalls, and other types of remarks, in the immortal words of Rodney King? Can we get along while we disagree? Okay, now, what I wanted to talk about was parking and valet parking and so forth on Church Street. I am a resident of downtown Montclair. I'm sorry, Mr. Councilor Williams, I missed your most recent meeting on this, and I know that you are walking point here, and so I don't know as much as you know. But what I do know is my experience as a regular protester on the corner of Church, the Five Corners, Church, Bloomfield, etc. And we have had landlords, particularly one, come out and exhort us to remove ourselves from the sidewalk, where we, as you know, have a perfect right to be. We don't have a permit, but we follow the rules. And so it's built up some resentment in me and others, but especially me, I suspect, to be accosted by police officers at the behest of the landlord. And you know, we've tried to talk them down, and they're respectful. It's just bothersome. Meanwhile, now for 2 weeks, I think 2 out of 3 weeks, Church Street has been closed down. You know, we all wanted it to be a pedestrian, or no, many of us wanted it to be a pedestrian street for a time. Well, now it gets closed down regularly for this restaurant that gets a permit to have the police stand and block Church and Bloomfield. And when I talk to the policemen, they say, or officers, they say, well, they have a permit. But I think it might be a matter of policy, too, that this is something you might want to look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 23, please.
23 scratched. 24.
Guest number 24, please.
Hi, good evening, Anna Grossman, resident of Montclair. I think the theme of my comment tonight is disorientation. I feel more and more disoriented living in Montclair. There's a couple of issues that are on my mind, and one of them is the deer. I love that we have an Office of Sustainability, and I love the work Dr. Johnson does. But this grant is confusing to me because I know that in other communities when these counts take place, it's the beginning of something that I oppose. And so I'd rather flip it around and ask you directly a question. Are we going to be killing deer? Yes or no? Because really, it's just that simple. I mean, count away, count all night, count with drones. But are we killing deer? Yes or no? Because that's all that matters to me. And if we're not going to kill deer, then great. If we're going to live with conflicts the way I thought our, town said they were going to, then fantastic. Then this is a non-issue. But not knowing makes me feel disoriented. The tree situation makes me feel disoriented. We always talk about Montclair being environmentally progressive, and it's been 2 years since we've talked about updating our tree ordinance, and it hasn't happened yet. That makes me feel disoriented. I don't know where I am. Am I in a community that cares or not? And I feel the same way about affordability. This whole school situation is so upsetting to those of us who do not make a lot of money and who, are living paycheck to paycheck. It's very disorienting to see that the concerns of people who have, financial pressures on them are not front and center in that whole debate. Separately, it's Thanksgiving. I'm so glad I'm not cooking this year. And I am grateful for all of you. Each one of you I've gotten to know, everybody here. You're all really special, and I mean that from my heart. All of you. You accepted a t-shirt from me. And me being nasty to you and then getting a t-shirt and you have a good sense of humor. You are so fantastic with data and research. I would get a tattoo that says I love Bill, right? Mayor, I love you so much. You just are such an incredible presence. Susan, you inspire me whenever I look at your Instagram. So many things that you do and what you're putting out there is wonderful. Rahum, you've engaged with me in conversations, and I'm tough. So thank you for that. Councillor Toller, you gave me the first hug that I ever got, such an incredible hug from you. I would like to see all of you rotate positions because I really think we deserve that because you all are so incredibly special and unique, each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next guest, please. We're up to guest number 25, please.
Hi, I'm Mariana Horta. I live on 80 Gordon West Avenue. And thank you so much for your service. I know it's not easy sitting there, and I hope to be short because it's also not easy sitting there until very late. When the Board of Ed decided to have this election, I told them, please consider asking for less. By asking for everything, you might end up with nothing. And it wasn't easy for me to decide that I'm voting yes. And I know that it's not easy for anyone who decided that they're voting no yes or no. It's a very hard choice because it's a choice between affordability and equity. All the things we're going to lose in the schools support equity. My daughter would be very little hurt because I can afford to supplement and give her quality opportunities that she won't be getting in schools anymore. Other kids can't. But the cost of our taxes is truly exorbitant. And for many, that's just too much. So I want to thank everyone who's just thinking with their hearts and trying to make the best decision for this town. Thank you. Finally, there are some things that are not so hard to give, and I hope that you consider those two asks. One is at montclairesks.org, and it's a petition to move polling places out of schools. It has become too dangerous to have a school while we have elections at the schools. We do have many alternative facilities that the Board of Education has already identified and sent to the County Board of Elections. The clerk has a role in suggesting locations, and that's why I'm here. We'll be sending you the petition as soon as it's ready. We just created it yesterday, so I don't have enough signatures to be impressive. It's only under 300. But I hope that you support us. It costs nothing, and it will mean a lot for our schools to be able to open on election day, and will make it a lot easier for parents to vote. I have missed an election because it's hard to keep your kid busy all day, and then you forget the other things you had to do that day. Finally, if I have a few seconds, which I do, I want to talk about pilots again. It was to 2023 where some of you started advocating with me for sharing pilots with the schools, and the schools were in a $5.5 million hole. And miraculously, that hole had disappeared in the fall, and there were no deficits in 24-25 or 25-26. Well, there were. The $5.5 million are still there. That's part of question one. And then there's the deficit from the next year and the deficit from this year. And that's how we got here. Yes, there were very dishonest administrators who hid the extent of this deficit from all of us. But the deficit is still there, and we still need pilot revenue. It's non-tax revenue that you take away, and we all pay for the education of those 160 students who are in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 26.
Sorry, Mike, my leg fell asleep. It's not there. Hi, good evening, everyone. I just want to thank you all again for your service. Like so many people have said here tonight, y'all are incredible for stepping up into these roles and serving the community in this way. I do want to thank Councilor Sean Anderson also for your support on the Immigrant Trust Act. I just want to say supporting immigrants is a cross-racial, intersectional work that crosses socioeconomic lines, and as someone who works adjacent to immigration policy advocacy, I just want to set that record straight on behalf of immigrant rights advocates that support for immigrant justice is not exclusive at all. Rather, it is a sign of a healthy multiracial democracy. And speaking of democracy, I do think this rotating deputy mayorship, that would be a sign of a healthy democracy. But healthy democracy also requires good governance and processes. The last time I was here speaking at a council meeting, a public commenter spoke about the way items get added to agendas and there being time for the public to know about it. And then I was thinking back to the very first time that I spoke during public comment a few years ago, and the counselor at the time said that he would not have known about the thing I was speaking about if we hadn't reached out to him. And so I just think that codifying processes would help create more transparency. I believe Councilor Chin Anderson was working on a resolution for something that would codify the way these things come up. And so I just hope that we're able to have that level of transparency and those systems in place to really ensure that both the counselors and the public are able to have time and see things clearly. So again, thank you all for all your hard work, and I hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving. Thanks.
Thank you, you as well. I'm sorry, what was your name, please?
So sorry about that. I'm Danielle Iwata, 201 Bellevue.
I'm sorry, what's the last name?
Iwata, that's Iwata.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Patty Bayshores. I'm a resident of 349 Grove Street. And I'm here because of what's happening with the resolution concerning the change in deputy mayor that to me raises real concerns about process, transparency, and how this council chooses to do its work. A change in leadership, any change in leadership, should never appear on an agenda without first being discussed openly among all councilors. That is basic good governance. That is respect. And that is what residents expect from the people they elected to serve. Instead, this was introduced without collaboration, without conversation, and without giving your colleagues the courtesy of understanding the intention or the rationale before it became public. That blindsides them, and it blindsides the community. This is exactly the kind of internal maneuvering residents were told would not happen with this group. People voted for you with the expectation of transparency, unity, and stability. Yet tonight, we're watching the opposite. A surprise resolution that wasn't vetted, wasn't discussed, and wasn't brought forward through any kind of healthy decision-making process. And to do this now, when our town and our schools are dealing with genuine, urgent challenges, only adds to the concern. Residents need you fully focused on issues that impact their lives every single day. Safety, infrastructure, budgeting, communication, staffing, and restoring trust after years of uncertainty. Those are the priorities that deserve your time and energy, not internal shifts that haven't even been properly discussed among the 7 people responsible for leading this town. This is not about personalities. It is about process and priorities. It's about how decisions are made and whether this council is committed to the transparency and collaboration it promised the community. If a resolution like this is to be considered at all, the first step should be a conversation among all of you in the open with trust and clarity. Only then should anything be introduced for a vote. Tonight's approach does not reflect that, and that should concern every resident, regardless of where they stand on the outcome. I urge you to pause this resolution, return to a process grounded in shared discussion, and recommit to the transparent, collaborative leadership that Montclair voters were told to expect, and that Montclair still deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 28.
Hello. Good evening, members of the council and Mayor Baskerville. My name is Caleb Lang Robertson. I live on 77 Orange Road. So I've recently been introduced into local politics, and it's interesting, to say the least. So many people have talked about setting an example for the future, so this is all our chance. I'd like everyone to remember that. So far, in my small, less than a few months career in local politics, I've seen yelling, arguing, and I've even heard of Board of Education, people advertising their Board of Education campaigns during public comment. This is not very professional and does not set this good example that we need to set for all of us, especially future people who are going to be maybe in council positions or future more public comment speakers that are maybe regulars, I don't know. But this is not what I actually want to speak about. I have another issue, which people have been talking about the deficit, and I fully think that's a very pressing issue, and it's definitely what should be addressed first. But there's another issue of the high school that is less talked about, namely the intersections. The specifically the ones on Park and Chestnut and Midland and Chestnut. They have signs up saying that during certain hours you can't make a right or left, you can't make a turn, and nobody follows it. So here's the thing. There have been many cases of accidents at those intersections, namely because people don't follow the laws there. The police are only ever there after the accident. They aren't there to prepare for in the case of an accident. And when I've seen them at the intersection, they don't pull people over. They just sit there and watch as people violate these traffic regulations, which are very dangerous. Crossing guards are basically the ones who have to take charge of this, and I've heard them and seen them basically almost have to fight with cars. Even from my math classroom across the street in a building, from there I can hear loud honks, yelling, crossing guards having to fight their way to make sure that people follow basic traffic rules, like not turning within a small window. It's not fair that they have to do this job, and we have a police force that's meant to protect the community. In fact, crossing guards at the high school have been hit many times, sometimes in these intersections. I think as a community we should do better and make sure that these intersections are safe for everybody. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next guest, please. Guest number 29.
Kevin, 5-decade-old 4th Ward resident. The reason I'm coming tonight is to support the resolution for my councilwoman, Amina Toller. I support her to be appointed as a deputy mayor. I want to congratulate the prior deputy mayor, Susan Shenanderson, my at-large council person, and I think she's a good successor in a long line of fine council people, including the Madam Mayor, Ms. Baskerville. Thank you for your service previously. Sandra Lang, Audrey Taylor, and Audrey Fletcher. Audrey Fletcher, and her name escapes me. The one who came before Audrey was
Bobby Riley.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Very, very, very strong woman, and I just want to put my support for Councilwoman Tola. Thank you very much for your service, and I think you'll do very well going forward as a deputy mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next guest, please. Guest number 30, please. Good, okay. All right. So we're going to move to new business ordinances. New business ordinance A. I don't know who wants to start.
I'll start.
Thank you, Counselor.
New business ordinances, a bond ordinance amending section 3 of bond ordinance number 02317 of the Township of Montclair was finally adopted on June 13th in order to revise the projects referred to therein. So this is, and I so move.
Second. These ordinances, if there are people that wish to be heard, you can please come down to the front and be heard now on this ordinance. This is the second reading? Oh, this is the first one. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the second. My apologies. Okay. Council members, any discussion?
Mayor?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes. Manager Marks, please, if you'd be.
So earlier this year, the mayor and council passed a bond ordinance which contained provisions for improvements at the police headquarters, police department. Because of change in circumstances, instead of spending money on a new 911 center at that location, it was determined that it's in the best interest of the department to spend this same amount of money on other technology upgrades, including body-worn cameras, security cameras, and other technology upgrades. So this is changing the eligible purposes of the previously approved bond ordinance to allow those eligible purposes that I just said.
Thank you. Counselors, anyone have any?
I just want to
This-
know what the cost would be. I can't.
Well, the allocation is the same. So Lieutenant Berardi and Chief Conforti are both here to go over any of the technology upgrades or technology acquisitions, the costs that they have for those.
Oh. Thank you for being here. Good evening.
Well, good evening. So the cost is going to be similar to the cost that the 911 center would have been. This is just changing what the account, when they did the bond ordinance, this was a 2023 capital budget request that has already been approved. So the funds are in the capital account. It just had to be changed to, the purpose of the account had to be changed to be able to use it for something different. Since we're not doing the 911 center now, we're going to use it for something that is AG mandated, body-worn cameras that we're going to come up in 2026 anyway. And we are going to use the old funds rather than have to ask for the money in 2026 in the capital budget request. So we're basically just using the money that was already approved rather than asking for new money, knowing full well that the town has some financial hardships coming up in the 2026 budget request. So we're trying to help in any way we can.
And you helped already. The shift was requested by the council, and I personally am very grateful that that was accepted by the department.
So this is just a bond ordinance amendment. Next would be actually contracting with Axon, so that resolution will be coming up at a future meeting. We have to draft that up, and so just so you know what's coming up. I know we'll do the memo and everything then as well, but this is just for the money.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilor Birmingham,
Yes.
Councilor D'Amato,
Yes.
Councilor Harrison,
Yes.
Councilor Toller,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Thank you. Agenda item B, please.
This is an ordinance to amend Section 327, Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Montclair, New Jersey. This is overnight parking. This is to add 2 locations for allowing permit overnight parking between 2 and 5 a.m. Fulton Street, south side, between Elm Street to New Street, and Club Street, south side, Valley Road to North Mountain Avenue. And I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Any discussion on it? Yes, Councilor Toller?
Sure, thank you. I just wanted to mention for the folks on Fulton Street, I know it's a very tight street, but I did speak with the chief of police and the fire chief to ensure that emergency vehicles can still get down if we allow parking on one side. They both reported back that it wouldn't be any issues because off of Fulton Street is Miller Street, which is another tight street. And I did speak to 2 or 3 residents, and they're very excited about parking on one side. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilor Birmingham, yes. Councilor D'Amato,
Yes.
Councilor Harrison,
Yes.
Councilor Toller,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Bills list?
Whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amount set forth opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair that said invoices be and they hereby are ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons. I so move.
Second? Yes. Councilor Williams?
Hopefully I'm not
going to ask this question and it catches anybody by surprise, but I had a resident reach out to me and was very concerned about folks coming and taking his recycling.
Yeah.
Right, as people
We
come
do
and
that.
take my recycling as well. And he was concerned that these folks are taking his recycling, which is taking money away from the township because I guess the town is not going to receive. So could you just explain this process? Because I wanted to write the person back, but I didn't yet. Are we selling this recycling, or is we're actually paying someone to come and take it?
You know, before I answer the question, I would like to do a little bit of research so I don't misspeak.
May I?
Yes, Counselor Toller?
Sure, I would recommend you speak with Craig Brandon regarding this, because I did have this question about a year ago, and I was told by the previous township manager that it wouldn't cost, it's not costing us to lose any money. But I know that our trucks go down and get weighed, so if the weight is lower, we need to find out how much money we're losing or not losing. So I would recommend speaking with Mr. Brandon, who's been with DPW for over 4 years and has a really good understanding of the recycling, how it's weighed and where it goes.
And the recycling market it's a commodity, so it's constantly changing. So
Yeah.
what may have been true a year ago or 6 months ago may not be true today based on the value of the recycled material.
Yeah, and people do go around in the evenings and they ride around in a truck and pick up people's cans and stuff and take it off, and I'm sure they're selling it, but are we losing money by allowing that to happen is really the question.
Anyone else? Deputy Mayor? I mean, Deputy Clerk, I'm sorry.
I do have a question
Yes.
on the bill list. I'm
Okay.
just curious why we have so many Verizon wireless bills, and if there is a problem with the Verizon wireless account at all.
That is something that I'll have to look into and report back to you.
It can be somewhat helpful. I asked the same question a couple of bill lists ago, but good for you to follow up further. But what I was told then is these are separate phones, separate places. The utilities have their phones. The question, I think, that I didn't really get a full understanding of why the amounts are so vastly different for the phones, because some of them are $700+ each month, and I don't know if that's like 10 phones, and then that makes sense, but if that part, you know, the number made sense because they're different accounts, different phones charge different accounts. Why the amounts vary for the
So-
different accounts
so-
is, I think, the question.
Well, that too, but I'm also, and I don't know, and I guess you'll follow up with the council, Mr. Marks, but there's a huge bill that we should be knowing about. So that's why I'm trying to engage you now, but if you'd like to share with us over email, I'll respect that.
Similar to the recycling question, let me do some research so I don't misspeak.
Okey dokey.
Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham? Yes. Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Harrison?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. This says consent agenda for the rest. I would like to take number 6 out of the consent agenda. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to take out of consent?
I'd like to take out 7.
Number 7 will come out. Okay, Manager Marks, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes?
No, go ahead. We're going to read through them all. Okay, thank you.
So item number 2 is a resolution awarding fair and open contract for the repair of Montclair Firehouse number 2, which was bid 25-28. Item 3 is a resolution awarding a contract to Fire and Safety Services for the provision of 1 fire engine for the Montclair Fire Department in accordance with HGAC contract FS 12-23. Item number 4 is a resolution authorizing award of fair and open contract for Township Landscape Goods Design and Native Plants Consultant Services. Item number 5 is a resolution authorizing refunds of escrow account balances for the stormwater escrows. And item number 8 is a resolution to adopt the council meeting schedule for year 2026.
Yes, Councilor Birmingham?
Can I just ask a question on the first one about the Firehouse 2 repair? I'm just so curious that the bidding, the low bid is 66,000 and then the high bid is 371, and that low bid is quite a bit lower. So of course I want to save money, but it just seems like a very disparate.
So what you're seeing is the total for 66,000 is the alternates that were chosen. So not all of these jobs are being done. So once we prioritize which jobs have to get done and what order they're going to be done with the funds that we have available, purchasing does an analysis of which combination of those things has the low bid. That's why you're seeing it that way.
Okay. So, because just as an example, the alternate bid for number 1, like task 1, we chose $4,800. And there's another bid of $179,000.
There's a very big difference in these bids, but once the fire department says, okay, these are the funds we have, and we have to prioritize which projects we're going to do with that, purchasing takes over and does a bid calculation from
I just wasn't sure. I want to make sure that I get, that.
And they are wildly different, so.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
So just to be clear, hi.
Hi. Deputy Mayor?
So the work that this contract is this solely for the roof leak?
No, so the roof leak did cause damage inside of the building, which is part of the repair work that we're doing here. There's woodwork on the building. That's a historic building. So that woodwork is starting to deteriorate, so that's going to get repaired and painted. And then there's other parts of the building, so there's a progressive level of projects that we're going to do. Some of it is painting, but we have to do some repair work before we do the painting. So, we couldn't get everything done that we need to this year, so we'll have to work on those other items or come up with alternatives down the way.
Okay, so there will be future.
We were able to get a bulk of it done with this.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
I just need a second for the consent agenda.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilor Birmingham,
Yes.
Councilor D'Amato,
Yes.
Councilor Harrison,
Yes.
Councilor Toller,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to go down to the resolution designating Deputy Mayor of the Township of Montclair. I was the person that put this on here, and I did that because it needed to be done, and I'd like to apologize because it should have been done in July. In order to understand that process is important, I need to take you back to how this even happened, that we had a deputy mayor. So before we got even sworn in, one of the first order of businesses that this council wanted to do was to have a deputy mayor. And I explained at that time that I thought that position served to splinter people, and it served to have, pit people against each other. And I know that, having been in that position. And I didn't think that was a good thing to do at that early date, because we didn't know each other really. It was just, I guess who ran with who or whatever people. But the overwhelming majority was interested in doing that. At that time, there were two people that expressed interest in doing it, Councilor Shin Anderson and Councilor Lockman. And so we agreed that it was for a year's term and that we would move forward. So however the vote was split, it was, some for one, some for the other, and I abstained because, again, I didn't feel like, the position, if I'm unable to do my jobs as the mayor, then there's a position, otherwise it's really not. And I did not feel like I wanted to participate in that. So July came, and we were so busy doing other things, trying to get an attorney, trying to do a lot of things. And so it just didn't happen. So that's part one. Part two is that communication has been an ongoing difficulty, as you probably all know, for this council. Everybody communicates differently. And there may be 3 people up here that speak to me, and then others that just don't, even though I've expressed the fact that, my preference is to have communication and talking and whatever. And I go and I see things on agendas. Even when I'm chairing committees, I see things on agendas that I should definitely know about because I'm chairing that committee, and no discussion, things get there. And even when we're trying to do this whole committee thing, we have no process. So I agree with what you all are saying today. The problem is we as a group have not figured out how to overcome these things, right? People come on, and I might think now that a certain person stepped out, I'm on a committee or commission, not ever, and then walk in the room and see some other people that are in there, and some people might call that blindsided, whatever the terms are. This council needs to continue to work and move forward to learn how to communicate with one another. I also think that I just like to share that, I have been in this township for a long time, and it was a different Montclair then, and I know that. And one of the differences was that if we had some beef, or as I heard somebody say earlier, a little funky or whatever, we wouldn't just, come and grandstand in here. Especially if we had a relationship with people, we would reach out to that person and say, hey, Mayor Baskerville, I'm a little concerned. You put something on the agenda and I'm not understanding why. We wouldn't just come in here, right, to have a grandstand and use terms that you really have no idea about why things happened or what happened before, or if this is the preferred method of the council. If people are demonstrating that over and over, it may appear that this is a preferred method. If people are doing that regularly, then, so in order for people to really come here and pass the judgment on us, it would be helpful, I think, if you got, more information. And certainly, I do agree, we have to improve our communication here, but we all have to want it. I can't continue to send emails to people and say, please, this is not working for me, can we talk? And then get, more emails, and that type of thing. So we have to work it out here. My prayer is that we will continue to work it out. And we did talk about moving, so no one was blindsided. I think people just, were moving through, and July came, and we did not have that discussion. And so at this point in time, I think that it's a good idea, at least for the council, to discuss the benefits of having rotation, or, if they decide that they just want to stick with one person. But I'm going to continue to encourage that we all try to work with each other. And if we all communicate differently, then I'm going to hope that each person will try to communicate with whoever it is the way that they know that person prefers, and not just continue to do things, and ignore somebody that is practically begging you to speak to you, because that's where we're going to have problems, and that's when we're not going to be able to do the best that we can for you. And I certainly want to be able to do the best that we can for you. So this got on here because it was delayed from July. I know we're late. I don't know if we decide, to rotate, how that's going to work. Is it going to go from November to November or what? And I don't know if there's someone else here that wants to be wants to be the next deputy mayor or not. Again, the communication isn't what it should be. And I got a lot of people coming up to me and asking me about that, and many people recommended that Counselor Toller, and they gave me a long list of reasons. You know, they said that she's doing things that not every people are doing. They talked about how she stepped up and talked about school things when not everybody was stepping up on the council to do that. They talked about her providing, representation for the entire community. So, yes, I'm going to continue to try to figure out this whole communication thing here, and I hope that the rest of the council will also. So I'd like to make a motion that we move this resolution. I don't see a number here. What number is this? Resolution designating Deputy Mayor of the Township, Amina Toller. Okay. The discussion?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir?
So first of all, I found out about this from a member of the public because when we got a draft of the agenda, it wasn't in it. And my packet of stuff arrived on Friday night to my house, but it was online before that. So in terms of communication, that's sort of an enormous breakdown. Now, I've been advocating for having an agenda creation process where we can actually look and see stuff on a daily basis or online. So first of all, if it was an attempt to create better communication, it didn't really work on that first thing. Second is, if the idea is to have it rotating as it was at previous times, which, good or for ill, this resolution doesn't do the trick because it's open-ended. So it should be for a short, for a particular
one-year period.
And it should have been discussed in advance what that might be. So
Correct.
it just is not logical. I would also point out respectfully and gently that when we started in 2024, you were very much against having a deputy mayor.
Correct.
And had to be coaxed into understanding that it was the law. It's the law. And we had a debate over literally the word shall, and had to remind ourselves that shall in New Jersey law means must. I this week rewound the tape, as they say, to 2019. And I watched the council meeting at which you were royally screwed out of the position. And I felt very, very badly for you, Mayor. I did.
You came out and spoke in my behalf, and I
Yeah.
thank you for that.
And it was a bad scene, and it was, and I can understand that would leave some scars. And I just, want to say, because we all bring what we bring, and that's fine. So I will just say that if we're going to have it, if this is going to be about process, let's do the process correctly. I also think it would be very good to preface it all by an open, honest, and productive conversation about what this body is and what it does, and remind everybody that we are a legislature, and talk about how legislatures are supposed to work. And one of the reasons why I think that this post is more than just another, ribbon cutting thing is because this is the only statutory position on the council where we all vote for that person as a leader, right? So you're the leader, run the meeting, and you're the mayor. But we are a parliament that doesn't have a parliamentary leader. All parliaments, whether they're the U.S. Congress, the legislature, a parliament abroad, they will vote from among the body to have a person who will help them legislate. And our system of government, which I think is a very good one, its one flaw is that it doesn't really allow for that, at least the way it's set up right now. So I actually think it's a quite important position, because it at least is a person that when we all voted for the deputy mayor unanimously.
No, it wasn't unanimous.
You didn't, that's okay, weren't involved. then that gives them sort of like a vote of confidence that when the deputy mayor says, you know, can you help me move something along here? Go, okay, yeah, because like I put my trust in you. I actually voted for you. So I think it's an important position. It's not the end all, but I think that we should have a discussion about what we each think it's for. So we shouldn't rush into it, how we work on it, and then if we want to change, and I would not personally be for a change because I very much like working with the deputy mayor. I think that she's helping us legislate. She's doing what I was hoping for. And I had proposed initially Councilor Lockman for the position, and I've been very pleasantly surprised at how the deputy mayor has been helping me and helping us, you know, just do the nitty-gritty, the grunt work of legislating, which I think is something that we need help on. So I would like to have the conversation. Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it about principles. And if we want to have it rotating, let's also, I would just say, I would be for, if we miss July, traditionally, I would just end by saying, these things are decided at the annual reorganization meeting, which is a very, very crucial date because it literally means our council ends for sort of a day and then comes back to life. And so these things always have a reorg meeting at which they're decided on. So if we were going to change, I would say to allow it to have the natural end of this 1 year cycle and then be prepared for that and then do it then. And then maybe if you wanted a logical thing, if there were 4 of us, each with 6 months or whatever from the wards, but let's just not do it as a midnight, you know, piece of legislation sprung on everybody on a Friday night where I had to find out from somebody and do it right. And thank you all.
So I and I appreciate your comments today, and I hope when you're going back, you went back to the last meeting that we had, because you know we all come here and say sometimes really nice things. If you all remember at the last meeting, the same council member lied on me and went so far as to imply that I did not vote for an individual because they were an immigrant. Anybody in this township that knows me knows that that could not be further from the truth about who I am, and it was all that I could do to just sit up here and give him that moment. But when you just take and make up things on people because you're upset about something that happened in an executive meeting or whatever that is, and now talking about civility and governance. The problem is that for 1 year, I sat here and I tried everything I could possibly think of to encourage those things and end up somebody casting a pall on my reputation about an immigrant. And it was totally wrong. And then, you know, to say that I said something about the person that I didn't even say, it was not me. I know what I said about that person, and I just think that we need to do that civility all the time. It can't be like 1 week, now you're feeling better, so you're going to talk very nicely and say some nice things, and then 1 week when you're upset because you think maybe I did something, I don't understand that. We can't do that, and we have to, if we're going to say things, we have to say the truth. We can't sit up here and just make up lies on this person and that person, because that's not helpful at all. So we have to work on those things, all of us.
I'd like to say something, please.
Yes, Councilor Toller.
Thank you. Respectfully, Councilor D'Amato, I understand what you're saying. I would love to hear what your thoughts are as far as putting a process and procedure in place. In my personal opinion, process and procedure has been lacking with this governing body. It seems to come into play when it's convenient for some to get other stuff done. So if we're really going to talk about process and procedures, then we need to make sure that we do it all the time and adhere to it all of the time. The other thing is, when we but we discussed this with, when we came into office between Councilor Loftman and Councilor Anderson, we actually flipped a coin. Okay, so, you know, we had a discussion. We didn't have a good discussion. We just, who wanted it? It was between them. We flipped a coin. And that's how we landed here. What we did agree on is 1 year. Okay, July was a year that has passed. We did agree on a year. We would rotate it out. I recall. And I'm sure if we go back to some of the tapes, we may even see it there. But, you know, I get it. It's like whatever Councilor Toller needs or wants, I have to jump through hoops. The reason I ran for office is because that I saw that the 4th Ward did not have a voice, okay? And here I am sitting in this seat today, and I still don't have a voice. Why is that? You don't have to answer that.
No, but I will tell you
No,
something.
you don't have to.
No, I'm not going to answer it.
The thing is.
There's one ward that's underrepresented on this
And that's
council,
true.
and it's
That
the
is
first
correct.
ward.
That's correct.
There literally are 7 members of the
Right.
council. There are 2 from the 4th ward, 2 from the 3rd ward, 2 from the 2nd ward, and
Right.
1 from the 1st ward. Now, this is the town that thinks about things like the malapportionment of the U.S. Senate, where New Hampshire gets the same number of senators as New Jersey, and we think that that's an injustice. Well, think about it here. Literally every other ward has twice the representation of the 1st ward. That's a fact. That is a fact. So,
Okay, and?
and if we're going to talk about representation of the wards, and that was going to be part of it,
No, that
Then I
wasn't
would
what I was
make a
talking
strong
about. I'm
argument
talking
that the
about
first
me
ward
actually
should
trying to
be-
get actual work done and having to jump through hoops with my own colleagues here. That's a problem, because it's a mindset, and that mindset has to change. Okay, so we're really going to talk about process and procedures. We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty, and we're going to have to think and open our minds differently and understand that we are one Montclair, all wards are equal, and not one ward is greater than the other ward.
Councilor Birmingham?
Well, Councilor D'Amato, I will note that the prior council had, I believe, 1 deputy mayor for the entire 4 years because there is no rule. And I believe he was from the 1st ward.
Yep.
And I don't remember in all of the time that there was that council, that term, I don't remember anybody from anywhere having an issue with one council member serving for that time. Now, I'm not going to, I'm not here to, I'm not here to question anyone's memory. I remember things differently. I remember that I thought we were going with the 2 at-large people because they had been elected across the body and, I'm sorry, through the town, and that they would each serve for 2 years. Again, that's my memory. Obviously, people have different memories, and I'm not questioning. I just feel like this, what is happening, and maybe we should just vote, and I don't need to go on, but I just feel like this was done in a way that I just don't support this so at this moment, so I'll just leave it at that.
Councilor Williams?
So, young man came up here earlier and he was talking about the discord that he sees up here amongst us. And, you know, I think we're not doing the community a service when they see a lot of this arguing up here.
Right.
Now, I was with some of you this weekend at various different events, and we're smiling, having a good time and stuff like that. And I think I speak to all of you, call you and text, all without, except Bill. Bill, we have to get a beer or something. We got to change that dynamic. But
Always willing to do that.
sounds good. I'm gonna hold you to it. So, you know, I speak to all of you throughout the week. So there is good communication, I think, you know, at least from my perspective, right? With this particular, so I wouldn't agree respectfully with the characterization that we do not communicate. We do communicate, okay? This particular resolution right here was not, it wasn't brought to my attention or to, I mean, I don't know if anybody else, well, I do know that. It was only brought to one other person's attention before it was put forward. And that created what you see here with people coming out on different sides of the issue, which really shouldn't have been a thing. I think what I would have liked to have seen if this was going to come up here is that you put forward a resolution. There's no name on there. It also talks about, to go to a certain date. And if it was a matter of rotating, then, you pre-select the people that are going to rotate and the dates they're going to do it and pass the resolution, and it's no controversy, right? And that, I would like to see more of that collaboration. This did not seem like it was in the spirit of collaboration. And I like Councilor Toller. I mean, we speak often. I like Deputy Mayor Shenanderson as well. I don't have any beef with anyone up here. I think anyone up here is capable of being deputy mayor, and I'll work with anybody to do anything as I've proven, right? So I would just like us to do a better job at, how we present ourselves to the public. That's it. Thank you.
I respect that, and yes, you do speak to everybody. And again, I said there were 3 people up here that speak to me, and during the time of the year, the deputy mayor and my communication styles are just so very, very different. And because I chose not to, every single time there was stuff on the agenda that I knew nothing about, I didn't say anything. When I thought, now that Carmel Lockman was gone, I was going to be on a certain committee, because we all just decided what committees we were on, and then I walked into a room and I saw somebody else was in that committee. I didn't go through the whole thing about blindsided. I didn't come here to this group. So people's perceptions have been, and for a good reason, because y'all shouldn't know that this is not happening. But when we have people coming up here and characterizing things, and then other people here talking about, well, the communication is good, it's good for you, It's not good for me when I'm trying to be the mayor and have communications with everybody. And I have said numerous times, the best way to communicate, and people, it seems like deliberately don't do that, and they go ahead and do what they want, put things on agendas. Don't put me on a committee when I've expressed interest. Don't come back and let me know. Let's talk about that. Nothing. So I'm saying it works for some people, but it has not worked for all people. And there are 7 people up here. As the manager used to say, he's working here for all people. And then not only do we have a problem here because people that work with us realize that, it takes 4 votes, so they figure out who those 4 people are, and then they start to, make sure that those 4 people have what they want, and then other people become less important. So we have to work on all of those things. And by sweeping it under the rug and acting like everything is great, it's not going to help, because the whole year I have tried very, 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 very hard, and nothing has changed. Because if you don't say, look, enough is enough, we have to learn how to communicate, or if we, want to continue to act like this is all good and people are not, very rude and offensive to certain individuals, it's not going to change. So I would like for change. I'm glad that if it's working for you, then that's a good thing. I've heard Councilor Toller sometimes say maybe it's not working for her. I don't know, what makes it work for some and not for others, but I do want us all to learn how to communicate with one another.
I just want,
Yes.
let's just table this number 6 for another time. We can have a full discussion at the next meeting. It's 9 o'clock. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
That's
And before
fine.
she speaks,
Yes.
I'll let her speak and then I'll go again. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes. I don't know, Councilor Harrison, did you want to say anything?
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you. First of all, it's very curious. I have to chuckle to myself, because it's very easy for anyone in town to request emails that any of us send each other. So it's very curious that people would accuse some of us from not communicating when anyone can Oprah emails and find that that's actually not the case. And Mayor, you and I, we do have very different communication styles. I have been a professional for many, many years. I've worked with people with very different communication styles, and we always manage to get things done. You and I have actually managed to get things done together. I'm very proud of working on this council. We've been able to pass a number of important measures for the benefit of everyone in town, usually by unanimous vote, sometimes 6-1, sometimes 5-2, doesn't matter. We've been able to get things done. And so I'm proud of the work that we've been able to do together, and I'm proud of the work that I take this role very seriously. I know it is required by law, and we went through that. And it is a pretty symbolic, it's mainly symbolic the way it's written in the ordinance, but it's something that I do take seriously because we all I think that we all ran for the purpose of getting some good things done for our town and make it better. And I think there are many instances that I point to that we did that. I am a little disappointed at the mischaracterizations and mistruths that are coming out. And again, a lot of this can be refuted if anyone cares to request emails. You and I were supposed to talk on the phone. We've talked on the phone many times. We've met. And, it's just disappointing that this appeared like this. When, I think that even though it's not a perfect communication, we have managed to get things done and work together. So it's just very curious. It's very, very curious. So and the other thing that I'll say is, I was elected by people in all 4 wards. I am not going to be intimidated or bullied or gatekeeped. I represent everybody in this town, in every ward. And I have put things forward and I have supported measures and I've written legislation alongside many of you on this dais because I want everyone to benefit from this town. Okay, so I hope that, I hope things can get better. And I appreciate everyone's contributions on this council. And thank all of you for being here.
Anyone else?
No, I just wanted to piggyback off of what Councilor Anderson is saying. I appreciate your story here and your sharing. Many of us have all done the same thing. I can't really say what you've supported from me with the 4th Ward and what legislation you've written that has helped the 4th Ward. We can talk about it. You said people can open request emails. I know for the past year, I've emailed. It's been a struggle to even get agenda items on committee meetings that you chair. So when you say you represent, that is true. That is true.
Okay,
I'm not
finish.
arguing with you.
Counselor, it's your turn to speak, Counselor Toller.
Right, I didn't interrupt her. This
No,
isn't
you
an
didn't.
argument. We're going to table this and come back to it at another day. And since you represent all wards, and you mentioned that people should Oprah request emails, I would like for everyone to check out the email on June 2nd, 2025, and have a look at what she thought of Juneteenth. Thank you.
So did you make a motion?
I'm making a motion to table it.
Okay. So if you don't want the vote, you want to have further discussion, then, so I'll take, when do you want to table it to a certain date or what?
I'm sorry. We can
Why
table it.
January? Because it might make sense to, if we're going to rotate it, to start at January 1,
Well,
which would be the beginning of a new
next December meeting
year.
is fine, or the one after that, whichever the majority would like. It's fine.
Well, I'm going to, if you're going to tell the time, I'm going to second
I don't
that.
have the dates. And when's the next meeting? The 2nd?
The
And then what's
second,
one
the
after
one,
that?
the 16th.
The 16th
Okay.
is fine. Thank you.
So I will, we'd like to table that to the
December
December
16th.
16th meeting.
Yes.
Yep.
Got it.
Thank you. Someone requested the resolution number 7, authorizing acceptance of grant funding for NJDEP community-based deer management. To
Yes.
have discussion?
I guess Dr. Johnson, she's here. Oh, she's here. Great, great, great. Is there an ordinance that goes with this? And how did you arrive at receiving this grant or making this memo to receive the grant?
Hi, there's an ordinance for what?
Is there an ordinance, I was asking?
There's no ordinance.
Okay, and did you go through any committee meeting to discuss this, or you just thought this was a great idea, or? can you
Yeah,
share?
so I don't make decisions in a vacuum, so I consulted with many environmental groups. And there's also an article in the Montclair Local that the MEC recommended a deer count to happen. And I also want to confirm that there's no culling at all involved with this. Zero.
No killing?
No killing. Yep, no killing at all. This is just a count. We can't have a conversation without information, and we have no idea what the population looks like. I'm an animal lover. I don't eat meat. Again, this is not about killing anything. And as far as the drones, there's going to be, the drone covers multiple passes over the township, so it's not just going to be one night. It covers multiple passes.
And it's strictly for surveying, right?
Strictly for surveying, that's it. Again, we don't know what we have until we know what's there. We can't have a conversation without this information.
Do we have an ordinance on the books already regarding deer? I'm just asking.
No,
We
there's
do
an
not.
there's an ordinance that there's no discharging of firearms and there's no hunting.
Okay,
So that's never going to be an issue.
okay. All right, I thought there was one on the books, but maybe there's not. So if it's not, that's fine. I just, I envisioned something crazy happening, like we don't want residents to have to put in new fences or get higher fences because we're doing something.
I think there was
we're trying to do.
there was a I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I believe there was a recommendation for that
For
from
increasing
somebody
fences
else,
for
yes,
homeowners?
which I don't stand with.
Okay, but this wouldn't play into that. This would be, okay.
Absolutely not, just
Thank you.
data.
That's all, my only questions I had.
Thank you.
No? Councilor Harrison?
Okay, I don't know, Lisa, I don't know if you have to stand there. This is, you can sit, and I don't think I'm asking you a question. Let me address several of the issues that member of the public came up with, and you have no idea how much I hate this issue. For 20-some years of my life, I worked with a staff, some of whom were hunters, and some of them hated people who hunted, and had to deal with that and keep the peace and deal with arranging site visits by staff around hunting season, which made life difficult. But I think, as Dr. Johnson said, this is not authorizing anything other than a survey. Having said that, Division of Fish, I know their name. Division of Fish and Wildlife has two parts. There's the part whose major role in life is to promote hunting. They also have another major role of conserving a lot of land in the state, hundreds of thousands of acres that are in Fish and Wildlife Management acres, but they do promote hunting. They get funded in large part by hunting licenses. Just to give you an idea of the magnitude, there have been as many as 77,000 deer killed in the state by hunters. We're now down, I suspect it's because a declining number of hunters have been averaging in the upper 30,000s. But it's done in a way to ensure that next year there'll be more than enough deer for the hunters to kill. And I'm not condoning this, don't get me at all wrong, but the concern, and then I have the flip side of the concern that that members of the public have raised to us is that the game portion of Fish and Wildlife pushes a result to encourages municipalities to cull the deer in their town. No question that occurs. It's been a number of towns where that has occurred. That does not mean we need to be pushed. I think, and my concern with that is, even if you accept the premise that killing some of the deer will reduce the population, that's not really what the game portion of Fish and Wildlife wants. They want there to be able to be a hunt the following year. So in the county, some of the county reservations, there have been culling going on for a number of years in a row, but it's not to get the deer down to a totally desirable population. It's to kill some deer, but leave enough so there'll be enough deer replacing them, so the next year they can do the same thing. I don't want to be part of that, and that's not solving the deer problem. The other part of this is, concern about deer, but cars killing deer is probably the least humane way to kill a deer. So, and we have had a significant number of incidents in town where cars have killed deer. I almost had an incident a week ago. I'm driving down Grove Street, going home at night. 3 deer run from my car, and if I had been going the speed most cars go on Grove Street, I would have hit the deer. I stopped 2 feet away from them. So that's a real issue, and it's not, oh, that's okay, because I'd rather have a deer shot than hit by a car, because they're more likely to die quickly than as a result of a car accident. But what I want to do is and because I am concerned that Fish and Wildlife, and the good news about Fish and Wildlife, its head is now someone came from the non-game part of it and is a threatened and endangered species person who I've known for 30 years, and so doesn't have the traditional view of the division director of that division as to, we have to promote hunting and give hunters the maximum opportunity in the state, and I'm still trying to figure out why they're allowing hunting of coyotes when one of the means of controlling the deer population is having a natural predator, which we finally have in the state, but we now, and not only that, their authorization for a deer hunt allows you to kill a coyote if you happen to see one while you're hunting deer, but anyway, that's why I have all kinds of issues with the game part. But what I'd like to do is to suggest we amend the resolution to do 2 things. One, the resolution says amendments to the agreement can be approved by the manager. I think they should be approved by the council. Rather have the public yell at us if we're going to suddenly do something inappropriate with animals than have the manager take blame. I mean, this is a very much of a policy decision as to what measures we're going to take if there needs to be an amendment to the agreement, and we should do that. And second, to add a be it further resolved that the request for proposals that'll be issued to get the entity that is going to do the drone surveys that is issued specify as issued for the grant, specify that any recommendations in the report not include any proposed hunting activities. So it's very clear that the recommendation that comes forth does not include killing of any deer. So they can propose whatever other measures, which we may or may not follow, but they cannot, and then the proposal, they know that. I know some of you, and I have the same concern, that the entity that does most of these, their reports uniformly come back and say, it'd be a really good idea to kill some deer in your town. And go amend your ordinances to allow that to occur. So I want to make sure that whoever bids on the proposal know that that is off the table as a recommendation they can make. And the other change to do the manager part, the second be it further resolved would now simply read that any amendments to the agreement shall be approved by the governing body. And I would like to move this with those changes.
Second? I'm sorry, discussion?
Yeah, so we tabled this last time, and it came up again very quickly. So, and then we have another meeting next week and the holiday, but
I'm sorry, I was just trying to find out if he was tabling it or just amending it.
I'm asking in terms of, would there be time to have a community meeting, or if we tabled this to December 16th? Because I'm still, in my profession, you never order a test unless you know what you're going to do with it. I'm still not sure how this, you know what I mean? Because I do feel like the reason you count is because then you have a justification for killing, because the other, and I know what you're saying, because but the other, like the management, it seems like you can do without necessarily counting, but, so this is why I want to see if we could have a discussion.
I mean, the further we wait, there's only a certain period when we could do a good count, right? So it's from December till April. So I don't want to push it off too far, because we still have to get the bids and all of that. There's always new technologies and management styles coming out. Just because we're not aware of it right now, look at AI. 5 years ago, it's not what it is today. So it's not to say that there's not going to be something that is going to be a better way to manage the deer. Again, that doesn't involve killing them at all. So, for example, heat islands, right? We know where they are. We could see it, the low albedo, it's hot, but we still measure it because we need that data. We need that data to make decisions. And it's the same thing with this. We're losing our forests. We're concerned about it. Is it the deer? Is it something else? Is it climate change? This is just another ingredient, right, in what we need to have in order to make these decisions. So this is all I'm seeing it as.
Right, and so I'm just asking, and this is just me, if it can be, because what you're saying, can there be sort of a...
Yes,
do we have time?
Well,
or is
we can even accept it and then have the community meeting and then cancel the grant. We don't have to sign the contract. So this isn't signing the contract. The manager still has to sign the contract. So if we pass this, we put it on the books. I actually talked to the bureau chief yesterday, and he said that they've never forced a municipality to have a hunt. The only time they can is if there's a public health risk or if there's a runway. And there's planes, and they could damage the planes and hurt people. But he said that he's got a deer biologist and he's got wildlife conservationists who will come to Montclair and speak with the community. So again, if the resolution's passed today, the contract's not signed. We can always cancel the contract later if after the community meetings it's decided that, this just isn't for us.
So there was a motion and a second, and now you're wanting us to table this till a later date. I just want to make sure that I'm correct, because then I need to find out if Councilor Harrison wants to do anything differently, or do you want us to have the vote on what's on the floor at the moment?
I'm not sure we need to table it for more than 1 week, given, the concern is we're going to have to do an RFP to get the vendor. Yeah. There's a time period involved in that, and we're going to start pushing up against the time when it can be done is the concern. And I think to answer your part, there are many different ways to deal with a deer population that is causing problems. And the easiest example of the problems it's causing is the number of car deer incidents in town. And I agree with members of the public, it would be better to have a drone survey at multiple times, but we don't have the money to do that, and one survey is better than zero, because we know there's a problem in the Bonsall Preserve, as an example. We don't know the scope of the problem. And yes, deer move, but but having a survey that says 10 deer, 20 deer, 30 deer can give us some idea as to the appropriate steps that can be taken in the preserve to maintain it with healthy native vegetation, none of which involves shooting deer. And I'd like many drone surveys, but I think having one gives us more knowledge than anything else, and I think we have to make clear the end result is not killing deer.
Yeah, and it funds multiple, so we could do it in March and April, or February and April, so the grant does fund multiple passes.
So,
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. It sounds like, I think I'm leaning more towards acting on this with Councilor Harrison's amendments. And I do want to clarify, I just want to ask, in terms of, the contractor that we actually enter into a contract with, it sounds like we have some flexibility and we will be able to, it won't be an issue to get that sort of disclaimer and, that.
Yeah, and
in the
we
contract.
choose. It's not like the DEP forces us to use their contractor. We can choose the contractor we want to use.
And then as far as the ordinances that we locally have that prohibits hunting, I think I looked at parts of the code. I saw one about not being able to have firearms outside your home. There's another one, I think, in the parks section that says there's no hunting or, molesting of animals on park property, things like that. And I appreciate Ms. Batson bringing this model ordinance. So I'm just wondering if, I'm thinking that maybe we move forward with this and at the same time look at strengthening, the laws that we have.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I would agree that with the changes, if we can do them now, because I don't think that people who are really dead set against this are going to change their mind. So having a community meeting isn't really, we could do that, but I trust Dr. Johnson. And I would also just say, I really was amazed and proud when I read a lot of the mail that I got, because it was so smart. It was so smart and empathetic, and really, a couple of letters were the best letters I've ever gotten on any topic, really, really smart. So for here or there, but I would support going ahead with those modifications.
Councilor Williams, anything? Nothing? Okay. And I could go either way. So you made a motion, I second. So, Madam Clerk, please.
This is for the amendment.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure the manager will be the one to execute the agreement, and then any amendments will go through the mayor and council.
Right.
That's the first part.
Yes, so
And
so
then-
that the first be it further resolved or amendments should be stricken.
Yes.
And then the second one will be the council approves any amendments.
Yes, and then the other one is that the entity that's awarded the contract shall not recommend any killing of the deer. It'll be worded better, but
Yes.
essentially, yes. Okay. So for the amendment, Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilor Birmingham,
I will vote on the change of the language, yeah. Yes.
Councilor D'Amato,
Yes.
Councilor Harrison.
Yes.
Councilor Toller,
Yes.
Councilor Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes.
Now I just need a movement and a second for the amended resolution.
So moved.
Second?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
I'm sorry, just a moment. Yes, oops, I'm so sorry. There's been a request from council, please, to allow you to come and share. Thank you. And we do that from time to time, just so the audience knows if the council is requesting, some more information from people from time to time, we do that.
Thank you. Could we have a meeting, not necessarily a big community meeting, but the thing about this issue, and I'm learning it more and more, is the more you talk to people who don't know about it, the more they go, oh, wow. I mean, just what Councilor Harrison just shared is news to so many people. It's such a nuanced, complicated issue. Is there a way that we can come before public officials, not in this setting, to educate as much as we can and bring some people so you understand the nuances? I still strongly feel we shouldn't do the drone counting without being very clear about what else we're going to make part of that data gathering now and over time. But these are the kinds of discussions, these are great discussions to have. And I want to find a venue to have that. It doesn't mean a whole community meeting with wildlife biologists, but even just I don't know how we could do it, a couple of small meetings with a few of you, or what that venue would be.
My
But
question to you
it'll
would-
clarify so many
But
questions.
Can we do that after we get an individual that we wanted to work with? Can we, stipulate those things at that time and figure that all out at that time? The things
Maybe.
that concerns, I'm just thinking that we still have time once we do that, because we're going to go with whatever ex-vendor, and then we're going to have time then. And we might find out, well, no, all of these people aren't thinking like us, and then at that time, we're not like bound to go ahead if it turns out it's going a different direction.
Well, what I think would be useful, and I think, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, is meeting your objective. I think it would be useful after we pick the vendor,
Yeah.
and he could be organizing his drone flights, but before he or she is making their recommendations, that they listen to the community as to what the concerns are, and there are concerns on both sides, and they're the environmental folks who, my God, the parks are being destroyed by the deer, and
Yeah.
there are others who, we should live with the deer, but I think it would be very useful that the person who's going to write the report to us hear from the community, and I will leave it to Dr. Johnson to figure out how best to set that up. But, and I'm certainly willing to be present at these, but
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it, because the person who is most important to hear your concerns, besides the 7 of us, is the person who's going to write the report to us. And I think it's better he hear those concerns before he or she writes the report, rather than after.
Yes, and I think I'm taking it up a couple thousand feet higher, which is, I guess what I would love to do is have the Humane Society offer this program, this comprehensive program. They do this work with communities all the time. They hear all these issues, all these concerns.
Okay.
And while they're called humane, they are actually fairly neutral. I don't know if you read their report. They talk about all the things you do before you even consider lethal. I think it would be really great, and for Dr. Johnson too, for all of us to meet with them and hear what is the robust way you want to go about this. Aside from this contractor, there's other ways we need to think about this, and how we can't make decisions without the right data, and this won't give us data to make the decisions that I think we want to make. So what else should we be doing simultaneously? And they have the expertise to provide it. So maybe it's parallel discussions with a couple of you and their urban wildlife director. It'll blow your mind, because and they have grants and they are selecting Montclair to be their community because of who we are. So can we have that meeting too and really get into the details around that?
Coordinate with Dr. Johnson.
Yes. Coordinate with
Okay.
Dr. Johnson.
Okay, I'm sorry, Counselor Williams, and thank you so much. Counselor Williams,
Go ahead, Ruby.
Just that it's,
I'm sorry.
you're in the middle of the vote, so I just wanted to make sure you are.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. My apologies. We should vote, and then we're going to have the discussion. I didn't know if the discussion was going to change the vote. My apologies.
That's, the public participation section is over.
Got it. Yes, it was, and then I made a decision as the mayor who presides over it that I was going to give her that, because our deputy mayor here thought it would be a good idea, but I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. Should we vote now?
I just have one question before the vote. May
Okay,
I?
I guess
just
it's
wanna
okay.
I asked her, she said it was. Has anybody seen the application before it was submitted? Did we take a look at what the requirements were to even accept this money or qualify? No? Oh. Not you. I'm sure you saw it because you submitted it. I'm asking my colleagues if.
So, we're going to do the vote
Can
now,
you
and
send
then
it
we
to
can
me,
have
please?
further discussion.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham? I'm abstaining. Counselor D'Amato?
Yes.
Counselor Harrison?
Yes.
Counselor Toller?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. Okay, so was there anybody else that wanted to have further discussion or something, another plan? Yes, you can certainly come forward, Doc.
No, I was just going to answer Counselor Toller's question.
I can't hear you.
I was just going to answer Counselor Toller's question, so thank you, thank you. I'm looking forward to collecting good data.
Yeah,
Thank
can
you.
you forward the application to the full
Absolutely.
council, actually, because that'll tell us what the guidelines are and how we qualified and what you submitted, things of that nature that may help you get a better understanding of what the data is going to be used for if we take a look at the application.
Councilor Birmingham?
And can you provide us with towns that have done these counts that did not lead to culling or killing?
Sure.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And then also, it seems like, because as Councilor D'Amato said, people feel very strongly on both sides of these issues. When you go, before you release the RFP, can we make sure, can we make sure that there's some collaboration there in terms of how it's worded and everything?
Absolutely. I look
Okay.
forward to working with a wide range of different groups and people.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Doctor.
you.
Thank you very much. Like to make a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.